Team USA's 2025 Motocross of Nations team has been announced. Welcome back to Vital MX. I'm your host, Michael Lindsay, and as always, any of our news break or rumor mill features are brought to you by our fine friends at Yoshimura R&D of America. Check them out at yoshimura-rd.com. Yes, we have a full lineup now for Motocross of Nations for Team USA. We already knew coming into today's announcement that we had two riders selected. The most obvious is your 450 Pro Motocross champion Chase Sexton for Red Bull KTM has been the sure-in as team captain in MX1. There was some long-standing questions over the MX3 or open category, as basically the AMA had waited out to see how Eli Tomac's return would come about against Aaron Plessinger. After Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing's Eli Tomac returned for both the Butts Creek and Ironman's rounds, while he was able to put up a lot of progress between the two races, he ultimately was unable to defeat Aaron Plessinger in any of his motos. Eli himself basically bowed out of selection and said that Aaron should go. So that paved a way for Aaron Plessinger to get that locked-in spot as our second 450 rider. Now, coming into today, the big question mark was who would go in MX2. We've been waiting to hear if our champion Hayden Degan would be going or if it would potentially be Levi Kitchen or maybe Chance Hymas. The team has been announced now and is Team Honda HRC's Chance Hymas that will race for Team USA in the MX2 category. So first up, why not Hayden Degan? Ultimately, after speaking to Star Racing management and the Degan family directly today, they had to make a decision on Monday that was mostly on the team. Hayden does have to have surgery this offseason, basically to have hardware removed from his wrist, the wrist that he damaged in coming into his Supercross season this year that they kind of played on the low side. That wasn't really a big deal, but yes, he had fractured it coming into the year, had surgery, and has hardware. There was x-rays done on Monday morning. They had a talk with doctors, basically figuring out what the recovery time based on if there's been any further damage done while riding with the hardware. Ultimately, the timeline that they've been given for recovery, Star opted that Hayden would not be allowed to compete at Motocross of Nations. He will finish out Super Motocross as that's what the team is basically paid for by sponsors to do. That's a championship for Hayden to defend. And then afterwards, we'll need immediate surgery following SMX. He would be unable to compete in Motocross of Nations due to the recovery time. And again, the team labeled it as they could not wait till after Motocross of Nations because the timeline on the recovery is long enough that they feel like it would affect his off-season training and preparation for Supercross next year, which based on some just little comments we've heard, we think that Hayden will race West Coast potentially next year, which again shortens up that recovery area that he would need. Ultimately, now the decision for MX2 is between Levi Kitchen and Chance Hymas, with Hayden and Star bowing out. Levi did finish the season stronger and beat Chance in the overall point standing, but Hymas definitely had a stronger middle of the season. Ultimately, Hymas' season was a little bit derailed at the end due to the interaction between him and Hayden Degan that was accidental off the start in Millville, where he got his foot tangled up, sort of bruised, tore some ligaments, etc. Really derailed his next couple rounds when he was ahead of Levi in the points. So ultimately, you could argue a toss-up between the two on who would be better to go, but one of the easiest factors to look at is the support behind each rider. Currently, Team Honda HRC does not have a rider going on Team USA, but they have their full staff basically going because they're supporting both the Lawrences for Australia in MX1 and the MX3 Open class, along with MX2 Australian rider Kyle Webster, who races for the Honda team in Australia. He is riding a US Team Honda HRC CRF250R. So Honda is already very all in the US side. They have great relationships with the Europe Honda team, Garibaldi, which is the HRC MXGP effort, to utilize their truck infrastructures, things of that nature. It makes a lot of sense because if you're sending if Pro Circuit decide opt up to send Levi, that's a lot on them just for one rider, getting staff there, infrastructure, bikes, etc. There isn't really a Cowie MX2 team to work off of there. They would already ship their whole own bike, but there's a few more question marks how to put it together, where with Honda, the vast majority of the race team staff is already going. All they really have to do is take Chance's mechanic, Chance, and two more bikes. And for Chance, it would put him in an infrastructure that he is already very used to and around more of his regular people. So again, if you kind of have Levi and Chance on a fairly even playing field of what you think is going to happen results-wise, it's an easy nod to Chance because, in a sense, the way Mike Pelletier from the AMA put it to us is Team Honda is very all in on destinations. They're willing to give their 200% effort to make this happen. So again, Team USA is ultimately going to be Chase Sexton in MX1 as our team captain. Chance Hymas in MX2 for the 250 class, and the MX3 Open class will be Aaron Plessinger. Also, following up the Hayden Degan comments, if you look in the description below or the first pinned comment, we have a written article up kind of explaining again their announcement side of being out of Motocross of Nations. As always, if you like our breaking news, give us a thumbs up, like, and subscribe, and thank you for watching.